Thank you very much for inviting me to be a speaker here. Certainly our story is one. I come from a time in Iran when the first TV, Television Iran, that I watched, it was black and white, was owned by Habib Sabet. Mr. Sabet was Baha'i. It was only after the revolution I found out that many of the friends that I went to school, my teachers, were Baha'i. So our stories are one. According to the Oslo-based Iran Human Rights Organization, from the first day of the revolution in February 1978 to the end of March 1979, 438 people were executed, most of whom were supporters and officials of the former regimes. This included Mrs. Farrokhru Parsa, the Minister of Education in Iran. She was the first woman to become minister in Iran, and her crime, amongst others, was prostitution, they said, because she had taught and our system of education in Iran had become secularized. In the 1980s, more than 6,000 people were executed. In 1980 alone in Kurdistan, probably 500 people were executed. Only in the summer of 1987, according to the statistics of United Nations, 1,879 people were executed. And opposition sources talk about 4,482 executions. Since 2010, there have been at least 7,326 executions. And this goes on and on. Our story is a story of revolutionary courts. Trials by unfair international standards have been the feature of the Iranian legal system since 1979. It has also been the story of special court of the clergy. This is after the revolution, even the clergy who don't believe in the velayat faqih, the rule by the jurisprudent, have been defrocked, and this special court of the clergy was set up in 1979, and it was formally re-established in 1987 by Mr. Khamenei, and again in 1990, again there was another stamp of approval on it. Our story is one. It is the images of corpses of hundreds of thousands of young boys strewn across the deserts of southern Iran, holding plastic keys to open the gates of heaven. These were boys that were taken from schools by agents of the regime, by the Basijis, and sent to the war front. Our story is one. It's men and women hanging from cranes, dissidents assassinated abroad, intellectuals murdered at home, demolished houses and confiscated lands of Baha'is, raised mosques belonging to clerics advocating separation of state from mosque, drug addicts languishing on the streets, underage girls smuggled for prostitution to neighboring states by gangs, ethnic minorities gunned down and burnt out university dorms, and the scars of torture on the bodies of those who dared to object. The English philosopher, political economist, member of parliament, John Stuart Mill, said in 1867, "Bad people need nothing more to compass their ends than the good should look on and do nothing. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing." In the Conference of the Birds by Attar, a 12th century Iranian mystical poet, a group of birds embark on a tumultuous voyage in search of the infinitely wise Seymour. When 30 remaining birds reach their destination, they see a reflection in the lake and realize that the wise Seymour, which means 30 birds in Farsi, is none other than their own selves. The Seymour spirit has awakened within us. Today our story is told through the roar of Zan Zendegi Azadi, woman, life, freedom, and no to the Islamic Republic. The courage and the determination of the youth, the resilience of those on the streets in Iran, that is our story. And the song of Baraye, composed entirely from media posts of Iranian Zoomers now has turned into a revolutionary anthem, and it expresses the hopes and values of Iranians and those values that they share in common with their brethren across the world. For being able to dance in the street, for not having to fear kissing my beloved in the public, for my sister, for your sister, and for our sisters, for the father who feels ashamed in front of his family because he cannot make ends meet, for a normal life, for the kid who was scavenging garbage cans for food, and when asked what his aspiration was, he replied, "What is aspiration?" For not having the state-run economy, for not having to breathe in this polluted and poisonous air, for saving the dying trees in our boulevards, for saving our cheetahs from extinction, for saving the stray dogs that are being killed by the municipality, for putting an end to our endless tears at night, for the father whose daughter was killed by the IRGC missile fired at a passenger plane, for the day when we can have our real pictures on our profiles, for the school pupils and their future, for not having to go to their compulsory paradise, for our geniuses locked up in prisons, for the stateless Afghan refugee kids, for an end to all these empty slogans, for tranquility in life, for the sun to rise after this long night, for woman, life, freedom, for man, motherland, and prosperity, for freedom. This will be our story, hopefully, from now on. Thank you.